Please allow me to introduce to you our Bothell Mayor, Liam Olsen. Go ahead and come on up.
Thank you. I think we've already heard what a great facility this is. Let me say this is the largest group I've spoken in front of as mayor, so yeah, it's not as daunting as I thought it'd be, so all right. Well, I haven't started using the technology yet, so all right, it works. So I just want to introduce, we spoke about that we have 5 members of the council here. Myself, we have Council Member Agnew, he disappeared, I don't see him. But then we have Council Member Mason Thomas, Council Member Jean Zorn, Deputy Mayor Zorns, and then Council Member Rosemary McAuliffe over here. So thanks for showing up, middle of the day. I know we all have busy lives, so making this a priority and showing up just says what a testament it is that we're trying to blend the chamber and the city and come together and just make Bothell a better place. So then, on to myself, and yep, there I am. So I was just speaking with Emmett before coming up, before we started eating, and I just told him that I'm a transportation engineer by day. I commute on the 535 bus line from Kaysner to downtown Bellevue, so I kind of live and breathe transit. So I thought it was great that he spoke, and I saw him speak at the Green Line, and that is a great facility, and I look forward to someday bringing it down into downtown Bothell as soon as we can get our Bothell Way expanded and get some multimodal features, facilities on there. So I look forward to that day and be able to ride on Green Line again for a new ribbon cutting for that piece of it. Thanks, Emmett. He didn't pay me to say that either. So then on to, I just wanted to talk about our 2019 county or our city council goals that we had, and we have them listed up here, and how they interacted. I'm just going to speak about a few of the accomplishments that we completed in 2019 and how they interacted with and how we really plugged in and lived through our goals. So our public safety levy, I'm sure you're all aware of it. It was increasing our police force and building 2 new fire stations in downtown that were over 30 years old. They had, served us great for all that year, but technology is expanding, and so there's a little bit of our technology, and then just reaching out to the public to let people know how important this was to have public safety. And I think everybody knows and believes that when you call up 911, you want that to come as fast as possible. So having the best technology, the best service, and I think we already have the best police and firefighters around. So I think we have that. We just are getting more of them. So our levels of service or service requests had continually climbed with our level of employees, our firefighters and police being constant. So it was a need. Our community listened to us. We reached out, and our community spoke and brought it forward. And we've been implementing the construction of the 2 fire, at least the design of the 2 fire stations. So you're gonna start seeing changes at those in the near future. So our next is the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space, our PROS plan. So I think this really gets into our communication connections. Becky Range just presented last night on how some cities just push out information. Some cities have partial two-way communication, but we're really looking at having two-way communication where we push out information, but we also request it. And we use technology, texting, surveys, online to get feedback. And the PROS plan had amazing feedback. There are so many stakeholders and youth and just all the stakeholders, buzzwords, that were really involved, that it made it a dynamic plan that for the next 6 years, and it really reflected our financial responsibility and sustainability by prioritizing maintaining what we have, improving what we have before we go out and purchase anything new. So using our dollars the best way that we can is just maintaining what we have. And then finally, for our 2019, I wanted to just talk about cleaning and selling up the downtown properties. It's been a long, arduous task that the city staff has just persevered with over the years. I think, the finish line is starting to come closer. We've put Lot D on. We've listed it for sale. We're getting lots of interest nationwide. So we will have a community outreach, some information, 2 ways coming back and forth on the RFPs that we received. And then also Lot A has been put into an agreement for development, and Lot P South has been cleaned up and it's moving towards sales, or it's moving towards being put on for sale. So I think has been a big lift. It's cost our city so much money, but in the end, it's been a vital part of the revitalization of downtown. And everyone can see when you go downtown how vibrant it is. I mean, the Main Street project is a connection of that as well. And I try to make a point of coming down and eating out downtown at some of the new places. Because it's amazing how busy and vibrant it is. So I look forward to the future for so many more places to open up and be able to experience them and speak with people while I'm out there. So enough of me up here speaking. We have a video that's going to show other people from Bothell speaking about the passion and trying to capture just what their feelings are all about Bothell. So here's our video.
Decided on downtown Bothell because we came in when the street was being rebuilt and we saw the potential of what was happening. We saw the growth, what the city was investing. It's turned out beautifully, and everybody that walks by and rediscovers downtown Bothell is really impressed with what's happening and very happy that we're here. Our customers just seem to be really happy with the way things are going in Bothell.
Coming to check out the campus after graduating from high school, it just felt like a really good fit for me. I think Bothell in general is a very beautiful area, and I love the campus size and just the community here. And so since I've come, I've just increasingly appreciated it more and more. It seems like, the community here definitely, they care about the city. Bothell cares about Bothell, and they do what they can to keep Bothell clean, to keep it, safe, sustainable. They try to preserve the different trails and the different parks that there are, and so that I really appreciate, and I noticed that. So I'm sure other people who live in the community do as well.
Pop-up park in Bothell Landing this summer, and then the one here by City Hall recently. It's been great. I think pop-up dog parks like this one in Bothell are amazing for community building and getting to know your neighbors.
I think my relationship with the city has been terrific. When the location came up and was available in 2016, I jumped at it. I knew that Bothell was a growing community, and from my experiences so far, it's been fantastic. The community is warm and welcoming. The Chamber of Commerce has been terrific. The small businesses in the entire area, not just downtown, Canyon Park, Thatcher's Corner, all the business really do get along well and support each other in the activities. Over the last 10 years or so, I've been really trying to get back to the community. And most recently, I've last 3 years I've spent with the North Shore Senior Center, and they've obviously got a lot to offer for the greater community. And some of the things I do there is I kind of help out wherever I can. So I bake pies, I bake quiches, I help set up for special events, and kind of a little more formally, I am a member of the board, and I help organize some of their fundraisers. You know, we like the community so much that my wife and I moved into the area in October. So we're new residents to the area. We really love the sense of community. One of the things that was tremendous for us also, part of the reason that we wanted to move into the area was the Safe, Secure Bothell, where we're going to have additional police and firefighters and things. It was really a great sort of testament to the community and the strength of the community in supporting the city.
What I love about Bothell is it's known as perhaps a suburb of Seattle, but it has an identity of its own. I think what's great about Bothell is it's got such a deep, rich history. I feel like what's exciting and what's a part of the Bothell DNA that I think that our church also shares is we have to survive, we have to adapt. And I think that we do that well, and I think that the city's doing that well right now. Granted, there's growing pains, and it's, the transition times are always hard, but I think as long as we're looking for, how can we grow into the future? How can we survive and thrive into the future? What I see is that paying attention to all the voices in the neighborhood, paying attention not just to the people in power, the people that we see, but paying attention to the voices that are a little quieter and a little more or hidden. I think as long as we pay attention to all of those, we can be able to grow together in community into the future.
All right, that was a great video. I loved it, especially the hearing from just the citizens of Bothell and how they feel about it, because I feel great about it. So next we have up is City Manager Jennifer Phillips. Come on up, and I'll turn things over to you.
Thank you, Liam. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can't believe this is my 4th state of the city. As I reflect back over the last 3 years, we've done so much together, and I'm excited to be with you today and to share what we've done in 2019, and then the mayor is going to do a quick view into what we're going to be looking at for 2020. First, if you'll indulge a moment of privilege, personal privilege, today's my mom's birthday. And so I wanted to wish her happy birthday. Alles Gutes zum Geburtstag, viele Liebe. I wanted to acknowledge her. We're not able to be together, but for both of my parents, I love them very much and appreciate all the support they've given me over the years. So today's a very special day for me, and I'm happy to be here with all of you. So the mayor talked about, thank you. The mayor talked about the city council goals. This is really what guides our work. This is who we are and how we move forward as a city. Talking about moving, I can't stand still. I have to move around. So the council works very hard to develop these goals, and we get together on a yearly basis with them to determine what the goals are going to be. And this is really our roadmap. This is how we move ahead. The work that we do is guided by these goals. So it's really important that we have these so we know what we're doing for the community. And it's a process, hopefully, that the community's been engaged with. As you're speaking to your council members, as you're talking to them about what you want for Bothell, that's how these goals are created. And then from those goals, we begin to do our work. How do we do our work? Well, it's really important, and I brought these up before, but I think it's really important to reiterate how committed this organization is. 360 people working for 47,000 people, plus all the businesses and all the visitors that come to our fabulous city. We do that through the values that we have in the organization, and those values are delivering exceptional customer service, working together as a team, making sure that our employees and community are safe, encouraging innovation so we do things creatively, that we're not stuck in that box, right? That we really want to do things that are innovative and creative, and most importantly, that we do things ethically. And these are the values that have continued to guide us over the last couple of years. So when you look at the council goals and you say, how are we delivering those goals? Know that we're doing them through those really important values for us. I recently came across a quote that was important to me early in my career, and I was happy to have come across it again. It's a quote by Theodore Roosevelt, and obviously it was written quite a while ago, so the word man is used repeatedly. So I'm going to insert the word woman early on, but I can't change his quote. So if I can read this quote, it's daring to lead the man in the arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. That's what we're doing together. You all are here. You're daring to lead. You're daring to be in the arena. You're here because you care about your business, you care about your community. We're in the arena together, and that's how we're going to accomplish these things. It's not always easy. Sometimes it's really hard. But if we can do these things together, we truly can accomplish greatness. And when we stumble and we fail at times, we're there to help each other. And so it's been a really exciting year, and we've been able to work together, stumble a few times, but have greatness as well. And so I'd like to share with you some of the things that we've been able to accomplish in 2019. The mayor's talked about community connections, how important the connection to the community is for us. And we've put a lot of work and emphasis into that, and it means a lot. I am a true believer in the process works much better, and the outcome is far better when you're all included. And so the community connections and engagement aspect of our work has really become key to what we're doing. And we've hired a new assistant to the city manager who is focused on our community engagement, and we look forward to 2020 as we make improvements in that arena. So there's a list of some things that we're working on. Unfortunately, it's a little hard for me to see the screen over there. We're doing some open houses and surveys. We've done an arts and cultural plan that we've been working on. We actually adopted it last night, so it's technically a 2020 accomplishment, but something that the team worked very hard on in 2019. We're hosting summer events. We're working on a new event permitting process because Bothell's become a really hot place to have events. And so we want to make sure that we have a good process so people feel welcome and they can be a part of our community and enjoy those events safely and productively in our community. We did our first ever Pride Month proclamation for our community. Our boards and commissions are key, and our community engagement has been phenomenal with our police department. Our police department is out there reaching out to the community, making sure that our community feels safe and connected and that they belong in the work that we're doing. So really important on the community connections. The next one, sort of on the opposite side, so there's the human side, and now we're going to talk about the technology side. We have had a technology strategy in place for a couple of years now. We were quite behind in our technology. But I want to share with you, and I'm sure you as businesses are also facing some of these challenges, but we in government are a particularly high target. And so some of these headlines are cities that have been cyber attacked and have been held for cyber ransom, and really it is a huge challenge for us. So some of the things that are happening behind the scenes that you don't see that we're doing to keep you safe are really dealing with some of this aggressive hacking, and we are a high target. And so we want you to know how much energy we're putting into that to make sure that our systems are safe, your information is safe, and our entire network is safe. My goal is I don't want to be one of these headlines. And so we're doing a lot of training and making sure that our employees and anyone that's involved in the city watches out for those cyber attacks, because we don't want to be one of those communities that has to deal with that. So that's one of our key things. We're trying to avoid cyber attacks. We did complete an installation of a new fire mobile fleet management system. We implemented our online utility billing pay. So I think we talked about that last time. It's online. If you're in Bothell, you can pay online for your utility bill. That's been a big accomplishment for us. Again, moving from a very old financial system into a new one. When you have one that's 18 years old, your integration process is much more challenging than one that's maybe only a couple of years old. And we're in the process now of doing an HR MS system, which is our HR, our payroll, and timekeeping processes. So we're modernizing some of our technology. Our community in need. So when we look at our community health, again, about community connections and really caring about our community. Last year I showed a video about our Navigator program. That is a cutting edge leading program in our area. It has expanded. We've gotten additional funding, and other portions of the Puget Sound area and across Washington are starting to look at this program and emulate it because it's been so successful. And this is having an embedded mental health specialist in our police departments so that we can help people, not just from an enforcement standpoint, but give them and connect them to the services they need to get the help they need. And so a program we're particularly proud of. We are the project managers of that now, and it's been a huge responsibility for our police department, but we took that on because we felt it was so important for our community. We continue issuing our, granting our human services grants, so supporting our community, along with Snohomish County Health District, and our emergency preparedness. Again, one of those things you don't hear a lot about, but know how hard we're working behind the scenes to make sure that you and our community are safe in the event of an emergency. We need to be prepared. We had the opportunity through a grant to hire an additional person to do more community engagement, to get out there, because you have to care for yourself in the event of an emergency. We won't be able to do that, and we want to make sure you're ready in case something happens here in our area. So showing how much we care, making sure you're prepared as well as we are prepared. The mayor talked about the public safety bond and levy. That's one of the largest accomplishments we had in 2019. We cannot thank the community enough. The impact on our ability to deliver police and fire services and some other services are just critically important, and we are very grateful. So far, out of the 27 positions that are funded through the levy, we've hired 21. Which was a huge lift for an existing staff. The levy did not provide any additional administrative financing, and so we did all of that additional work and implementation of the levy through our existing staff because we wanted your levy money to go to the delivery of services and not to administrative costs. That was a big commitment that we made to the council and the community, and so we absorbed all of that internally. The mayor also mentioned we're starting to work on the raise and rebuild of our 2 fire stations. Again, a huge investment from the community, and is going to make an enormous difference. So we just can't thank you enough. You're going to hear this over and over for years ahead. Thank you, thank you, thank you for believing in us and supporting both the bond and the levy. Speaking about public service, we continue to do things like working on our streets and roads for the Safe Streets and Sidewalks levy, implementing more sidewalk projects, making sure our kids can get to school safely. We implemented a program to maintain our fire apparatus in-house. So again, we're always looking for efficiencies and ways to use your taxpayer money the best that we can and deliver the best service and take care of our own staff and make sure our fire apparatus are well maintained. We recently joined the King County Fire Training Consortium. So again, looking for efficiencies and our ability to deliver our fire service as best as we can. And I'm so delighted that the judge didn't have to leave early. I know, it's right. I know, the timing's perfect. We welcomed a new municipal court judge in, Judge Amara Rosano, if you'll give her a round of applause. We did a very comprehensive interview process for a new judge, and Judge Rosano came out hands above and has brought new energy and a new vision, and I believe will do great things, very focused on community court, and again, providing services for those in our community who need them. And we're just delighted that you're with us. So welcome, and we're happy that you're here with us. We also adopted a comprehensive emergency management plan. So again, preparing for you and making sure that we're ready in the event of an emergency. And one that I'm particularly proud of, and I know went under the radar, is our police department worked like crazy to be reaccredited as a police department. There are only 51 police departments in the state of Washington that are accredited police departments. And the amount of work and effort and the caliber of the police department that you have to get this accreditation is really an impressively high bar. And I am so proud. Bothell PD was one of the things that attracted me to come to Bothell and be the city manager, and they have continued to exceed my expectations. And so I'm really proud of the chief, our former chief, Carol Cummings, who championed this, our current chief, Ken Suberlich, and our entire command staff at the police department, just doing a phenomenal job for our community. Yes. And then we have to remember Snowmageddon. 2019, we got hammered with a huge amount of snow. And you know what I heard over and over and over again? Everybody around us was a hot mess. But once you got to Bothell, you could actually get around. And that is our Public Works Department. That is the quality of the people who work in our Public Works Department and our entire emergency preparedness team and the leadership to get ready and know how important it is to get our streets cleaned and ready and safe for mobility. So if you had to leave Bothell, it might have been a little tough, but we were really proud of the work that we did during Snowmageddon. We had a little bit of snow again earlier this year. I think you saw it again. But for Snowmageddon, for us, that was a real test of who we are and how we deliver services. And I will tell you, our crews worked nonstop so everyone in Bothell could get about. And I couldn't have been more proud. I had absolutely nothing to do with that. That's one of the joys of leadership, when your team just goes off and does amazing things. That is years of working together, and that quality, when it goes back to our values of teamwork and exceptional service, we delivered during Snowmageddon. So let's talk a little bit about economic development, near and dear to this chamber's heart, and all of you in the business world. We've done some pretty amazing things this past year for economic development. We launched one of the best new tourism websites I know of, and that is the Begin at Bothell website. We are so proud of that website. It's already won 3 national awards, and is having huge return on investment of our ability to bring tourism in. And tourism, for many of you, means a more successful business. And it's one of the things we're partnering with and really want to see delivered for our community. We want to bring people to Bothell and show them what we have here. So we're really proud of that. The mayor mentioned our downtown cleanup. That continues, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And I actually have a couple of slides, so I'm going to head right into, first of all, how much we care for our businesses. You know, there was a concern a couple years ago when there was a change on council that the new council wouldn't be as business friendly. I heard that when I started. And I can tell you unequivocally that this council has remained so incredibly supportive of business in this community and has never wavered from the downtown redevelopment. They've stayed true to course and have supported what has happened in our community. So I hope that you know and can feel the support that you're getting from your city council. As businesses, you are key partners in what we do. They also had the vision and the courage to hire an economic development manager. Jeannie Ash, I know she's in here somewhere. Why am I not seeing you? There she is. Jeannie Ash joined us about a year and 4 or 5 months ago because the council was so committed to businesses, they wanted to make sure that you had someone on the city staff to connect with. And Jeannie has worked very hard over the last year and a half to be able to deliver some important programs. Again, we've continued that downtown redevelopment. We're working on the Canyon Park sub-area plan, which is another critical investment in our businesses and attracting visitors, employees, and residents. So we care about you, and this council cares about you. And we are very, very connected and committed to the work that you're doing, and we appreciate you in our community. So, just a little blurb from our Begin at Bothell. What a beautiful logo. The advertising's been phenomenal. We're getting out into different magazines. If you went through Payne Field recently, we had advertisements in that beautiful welcome magazine that you get when you're at Payne Field. And we're just seeing great rates of return on our new Begin at Bothell program. And then we have our economic development. So for those of you who have been coming to this for a few years, this map should look pretty familiar. And unfortunately, it hasn't progressed a lot because of the challenge of cleaning dirty dirt. But I'm excited, and the mayor touched upon this, I'm excited to tell you that the Lot D, which is on the corner of 522 and 527, right next to the Boulevard Place, is almost clean and is on the market, and we have received very viable offers that we're now reviewing, and we plan to close that property sometime in 2020. And that is phenomenal for this organization and for this community, and there's a lot of excitement about this property and about being in Bothell. So very, very proud to be a part of that process. Lot P South is now clean, which is behind the junction in the downtown, and that will go on the market in June. And as the mayor mentioned, Lot A, which is where the former Bothell Bike and Ski is, that is under contract with an affordable housing group, and we are very hopeful to see an affordable housing complex there. So we are making huge strides in our downtown redevelopment. Some upcoming projects, Sound Transit is here, and we appreciate you being here as our partners. There's some important projects coming. The bus rapid transit for Bothell really is going to make Bothell mobile. And so our work with Sound Transit in partnership with them is we want to make sure that Bothellites can connect to these bus services, and they will feel welcome on these buses, and those buses will work for you, and that you and your employees can use this system. And so in our partnership, we continue to share what we think is important to Bothell, and so that this will work for us because we are a major connection between the 522 and the 405 BRTs. So there's some very exciting things coming for transportation, and we are actively engaged in that. And so we look forward to continuing that engagement and moving those projects forward. I talked about the work of the Economic Development Manager. She's going to be delivering a business retention and expansion report coming up very soon. She visited 50 businesses in 6 months and got feedback from those businesses. Good feedback and sometimes hard feedback for us to hear. But it's important for us to hear that feedback. What are we doing well and what are we not doing so well? And it's hard to hear the not so great feedback, but it's how we learn and it's how we grow. And so her outreach to those businesses has been critically important for us to learn about ourselves and to continue to improve as an organization so we can support you as our businesses. So we're excited to deliver that in a few weeks to council. And then another economic development program. It was in the newspaper, and we had a huge open house. 65 people came talking about what to do with the 4 acres on the front part of the former Wayne Golf Course. When we originally purchased this property for the total price of $11.7 million, we purchased 89 acres. We reserved those 4 acres up front for some sort of economic engine. And this is hard. This is hard for the community to have these discussions about what potentially could go on these very, very precious 4 acres. But again, it goes back to those values and the commitment, and that's why we have goals, is community connections. We want to do this together. We tell the story of where we are financially and the goal of having an economic engine, but we also want to hear back from the community and have them be a part, all of you be a part of the process to determine what do we do with these 4 acres. This will be one of the most impactful projects and decisions that we make, aside from purchasing the 89 acres. What do we do with these 4 acres? And so we did a feasibility study. We presented that to council. We also presented it to the community. And we have lots of discussions coming about what potentially could work on those 4 acres and the opportunities for Bothell. So we're very excited to move forward and continue those discussions with the community. I talked a little bit about the sub-area plan for Canyon Park. This is another huge undertaking, very similar to what we did in the downtown. It will lay out opportunities for the Canyon Park area and to support one of the largest biotech hubs in America. It's a very, very important part of who we are in Bothell and how we're able to support our community and the employees and the employers that we have here in Bothell. So that project is continuing and should be completed in 2020. Another very, very important goal for the council, especially this new council, is affordable housing. I know you're all reading about it. It is a hot topic in Washington. In most areas that are metropolitan, we're struggling with this across America, so we're not alone. But Washington is working very hard to try to come up with solutions, and this council is very committed to affordable housing and making sure that everyone in this community has an opportunity to be here, feels welcome, and there's opportunities for them to have housing here as well. And so we're working on things like a multifamily tax exemption program. We worked with a local affordable housing developer. That's what I talked about for Lot A. Council has added clustering provisions to our multifamily zones. We participated in the Snohomish County Affordable Housing Regional Task Force that just concluded and issued a report. And again, working on Lot A with Imagine Housing. So really trying to make some strides and very committed to that affordable housing goal. Parks and Rec, the happy department. How can you not smile when you talk about Parks and Recreation? We have one of the best, in my opinion. A tiny, tiny department delivering a massive amount of work, taking care of all of our parks and our open space, as well as delivering all of our recreation programs. The mayor mentioned adoption of our Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan. That's huge for us to be able to get grants and figure out how we're going to care for all of our parks and open space moving forward. We had sold out summer classes and camps. The pop-up dog park that you saw in the video was a huge success. We go back to the values and we talk about innovation. That was innovation. That was how do we reach out to our community? How do we get them engaged in the PROS plan? How do we figure out what our community needs? And they did a pop-up dog park. Just an outstanding opportunity to be innovative and connect our community. They do special events, and they also partnered with the Chamber of Commerce on the downtown on Main Street for the planters. So looking for those partnerships and really working together. Some great photos of everybody working together. It's the happy department, I'm telling you. It's the best job. And then us as the organization. So this is a great team of people. 360 people working together to deliver programs and services and to take care of 47,000 people and all of the businesses and all the visitors who come to our amazing city. So again, the implementation of the levy, that was an agreement that we made as a leadership team. We didn't want to spend your levy money on administration, and so we did that internally. We're looking to continue to modernize our human resources and our finance departments. Succession planning, as I'm sure some of you are talking about in your own organizations, is critically important so that we can continue to deliver the services that we're delivering without any hiccups, as those of us who are ready to retire or looking towards retirement, that we prepare those to come behind us and take our places. We have a trained, high-performing workforce, and our leadership is really working hard to be a high-performing team. We're working hard to have those tough conversations and get to that next level of really being a great team that can deliver just amazing things for our community. And I'm really, really proud of our leadership team, of our management team, and all the employees who work for Bothell. They've really embraced the vision, embraced the values of who we want to be and how we want to deliver services to our community. The environment, we did some great stuff for our environment as well. That was a new goal that the council adopted in 2019. We did pass a plastic bag ordinance that goes into effect on Earth Day. So if you shop in Bothell, make sure you start remembering to bring in your bags. Again, the downtown cleanup, that is a commitment that we made. When we purchased those parcels over 10 years ago, we made a commitment because it's the right thing to do to clean up the environmental contamination that occurred from businesses. It's not the city's fault, but we took on that responsibility, and we're committed to that because it's the right thing to do for the environment, and we're doing that. And also, again, the Happy Department has eliminated pesticide and herbicide use in all parks unless they're legally required to do so for some specific noxious weeds. So that is really looking at our community health, and caring for all of you not to have herbicides and pesticides in our parks. And now comes the money part. So we talked about this the last time and probably the time before. We have some challenges in Bothell. We had some good things happen. We actually had our bond rating increased from an AA2 to an AA1. And this is because of the work that the council is doing. The fact that they're not sticking their head in the sand, the fact that they're not overspending, they're committed to making sure that our organization is sustainable working into the future. And so that bond rating came from hard work from the council to make sure that we are taking care of Bothell. We did issue $25.5 million in bonds for our fire station reconstruction. We're updating our financial policies. They were actually adopted last night. This is really important as part of our transparency, and so that you know what we're doing and what the council's doing and how we're caring for your money. We created and post monthly financial dashboards. If you're a data person, we find it very exciting in the data world. Go on our website and you can see how, in a much more clear report, how we're bringing in your tax dollars and how we're spending them. And we also received a clean audit for 2018, which is always a major accomplishment and something that we should all be very, very proud of. And it should show our confidence in the work that we're doing for the city. So where does our money come from? $57.1 million a year in our general fund, and we usually talk about our general fund monies. We have other revenue sources, but our general fund is our main source of revenue and how we provide most of our programs and services. We have utilities, water and sewer, and storm drain, but this is specifically the general fund. So we bring in about $57.1 million from a variety of sources. Note, sales tax is the #1 revenue source, and that's because of all of you. Sales tax comes from businesses. So again, that's that partnership, that's commitment. We understand what you're bringing to our community and how important you are for our financial stability and our ability to deliver services to our community, especially for those who are in need. You help balance that and bring those revenues in so we can care for all who are in our community. And then we spend that money on your behalf based on the council goals at the beginning of the presentation. We spend that money on your behalf, delivering the programs and services for our community. If you'll note this year for 2020, we're actually spending less than we're making. So in previous presentations, we had the problem that we were spending more than we were making. So we've been able to start to correct that, but we still have a challenge. And so that's one of the things that we really need to work with the council and the community on in 2020. Unfortunately, our expenditure growth continues to outpace our revenue. Not unlike a business, not unlike your own family income, if you don't make enough and you're spending more than you make, at some point we have a problem. And we're at that point that we have a problem, so we do have a structural deficit. We have to be cognizant of a potential, I know this, especially in the business chamber, the word recession is not a good word, but we in local government have to make sure that we pay attention to that and we prepare for that. And so there is a possible slowdown, maybe a possible recession. We made some deferred investments in our transportation and our infrastructure systems, and we have to make sure that we care for those. I don't know if anybody saw the story about Fort Lauderdale, not to call out another city, but they had a massive sewer break in their community, and it's because they're not taking care of their infrastructure. We have that responsibility. I always tell people, we take for granted when we turn on the faucet and we flush the toilet, we all take that for granted. But there's a huge amount of work and people and effort and money that's going in to make sure that you never have to think about turning on the faucet and getting clean water or flushing the toilet and everything works. That's our responsibility, and we take that very, very seriously. But it takes money to be able to do that. So those are the things that we need to look at. We also have to make sure that we have enough money to replace the assets that we have, and we haven't done a good job in the past of saving for those things. And so we need to work with the council in 2020 to develop the 21-22 budget. And we're going to have to make some tough choices. But the important thing is we're going to do it together. We're going to look at what the community needs, we're going to talk to the community, and we're going to make decisions that we hope will support the community and help you to continue to grow and prosper in Bothell, because we value you so much and are so glad that you're here. So that's basically our plan. We have to look at some realignment of expenditures, which means we've got to cut back a little bit. We've got to explore opportunities for any kind of increase in revenues that may or may not impact businesses. But again, our commitment to you is to have those conversations. We need to increase our reserves. We have to have a stronger savings account, and we really need to focus on that long term. If we just focus on this year, we focus on next year, we're not doing the next generation and the next group of businesses and employees and residents and visitors to our community justice. We have to look at the long term, because these are long-term solutions. We also get a lot of legislative support. The council was amazing this year. I don't want to miss this piece, because it's so important that you recognize that we're not just out there with your funds, but we're also going to the state and the feds and asking for money. And this year, Bothell did extremely well working with the state legislative representatives and the entire state legislation. They supported us on improvements for the I-405, so the widening of the toll roads. That was $640 million for our region to continue to grow our transit system, championed by our city council. We also got money for Canyon Park. We got money for the downtown revitalizations. We got to keep cleaning that dirty dirt. We got money for the bridge at Bothell Landing. If you've been down, you've seen some big equipment down there. We got $1 million to help with that, to couple with $1 million we got from the federal government to support that. And we also got some additional classes to make sure that as we're bringing on police officers in the state of Washington, there's enough classes for them so they can get in, they can get trained, and they can get out on the street and support you and deliver services to all of our communities in Washington state. So we did a lot in 2019. It was a really great year, and we enjoy providing services to all of you. This great team, again, 360 incredibly dedicated people delivering a wide breadth and depth of services to our community to support you, to have you feel welcome, to make sure your businesses thrive, your families thrive, and that this is a great place to live and do business and enjoy your pastimes as well. So what's next? That I leave up to the mayor. So I'm going to turn it over to the mayor.
Thank you very much. Let me put this back in there. All right. So as Jennifer was telling us about in great detail, thank you very much. You covered a lot of the information, so I can stay high level, 30,000 foot level here with our city council goals for 2020, because that's where it all comes down to. This is what we meet together as a council. We develop these, and these what guide us. It guides the city, it guides the staff. And so from there, I would say it's budget, budget, budget. This year is the budget cycle. So 2 years ago, I understand it was quite different from years past. So it was the only one I know, but it was an amazing process where we learned so much. All the directors came in front of us, spoke about what they accomplished, what they need, and how it fits within our budget. So I look forward to that again, because as the city manager spoke, we have challenges, but I'd say every city has challenges. Costs are constantly increasing, and we get unfunded mandates from the legislature and higher levels that just are requirements that we as a city have to meet. So I'd say our budget reflects our city values. So we want to take care of all of our citizens. Affordable housing is paramount to us. We're doing lots of work on to give ourselves more tools, make it easier for developers to come in and incentivize it to create the affordable housing so that Bothell has a greater cross-section of all communities and all levels, so you can work in Bothell and live in Bothell at the same time. You don't have to come from far out where you live. And I think that just really builds our community as well. Councilmember McAuliffe worked on the Friday market over at Beardsley, and it was a huge success. I think we're trying to move it this year closer to downtown, and so we can have more community space. We have a great plaza at City Hall, and I think we should use it and just really activate our downtown. As I said before, everyone's walking around. There's so much activity there, and if we can have a weekly event during the summer when, you know, it's getting there now. I can see the sun still. It's I don't want to jinx it with more rain, but yeah, as we get in the summertime, everyone likes coming outside. Everyone likes coming together. The Bothell Dog Pop-Up Park was a huge success. Deputy Mayor Zorns talks about going there, making new friends, and seeing other people make friends. It's a happy place. I mean, you bring your dog, how can you not be happy? And it's always easier to make friends when you're happy. So one other thing City Manager spoke about was Canyon Park, the regional center. It's Snohomish County. I live in Snohomish County, so I'm always interested. My ears perk up a little bit more. I think we've done so much work in downtown Bothell, Main Street. It's on a great trajectory. We need to give the same love to Canyon Park. It's another engine, economic engine that we have up there. Sound Transit is looking to have a base up there and have the nexus of their two routes. So we're the focal point of transit in the area. And I mean, once again, I love transit. I live it, I breathe it. So I think with our sub-area plan, it's moving forward and just finishing that up with the finance that we had from legislature to move that forward and keep that process moving so we know what to expect, meet our PSRC needs for our regional growth center, and continue to grow in that area. And finally, I want to talk about volunteerism, community service. Just last night, we spoke about a donation, $68,000 from an anonymous donor targeted towards parks, and specifically one of our buildings in Crossroads, the historic buildings down there, to replace the roof. I think that's amazing when people come together and give to their community. Another piece I saw was with our boards and commissions interviews just recently. We had close to 50 people come and volunteer to dedicate the next 2 to 5 years coming to monthly or even more often meetings. So I think that's amazing. We had so many great candidates, and City Manager touched on how we're having youth involved in this now. So we had 16 applicants for 4 spots, 2 on the Arts Commission and 2 on the Parks Board. And these were amazing. I mean, you're like, wow, it was from 13 to 17 years old, but they were like, you sure these aren't college kids? So it's amazing what we can do with volunteers coming in, supplementing our own staff and our own budget by working out in the community, working on the parks. We have, with Wayne Land, tons, and with North Creek Forest, there's lots of property that has been under-maintained for years and years. So getting the people out there, getting in touch. So many people live in the multifamily housing or apartments, so you don't have that property or the land or your yards that you have to take care of. So I think it's good to stay in touch with our city. So probably should have clicked on this a little earlier. But so these are the areas of our focus. I think I already spoke to many of these. And we're just continue moving forward with so many of these. And I want to say thank you to Evergreen and to the Chamber for hosting us. This is amazing. And as Emmett said, this is top notch. It's great. Thank you so much. And have a great rest of the day out in the sun.
Sometimes I get reminded I'm not very tall. So can we please give one more round of applause for Jennifer Phillips and for the Mayor, Liam Olsen, for coming up here, giving a phenomenal state of the city. Just learned so much. Thank